Lee with J&P Cycles, and today I'm going to be showing you how to install this Hogtunes Rev 200 kit in a 2015 Road Glide. All right, we'll get started by removing the seat so that we can disconnect the battery. Next up, we'll remove these T40 bolts, Torx T40, so that we can take off the top caddy. Move that plug out of my way. I'll disconnect this plug and move the ECM out of my way. Now I should be able to move the caddy forward and have it release, just like that. Now with a 10 millimeter, I will disconnect the battery. Battery is done, and next up, we're going to be removing the fairing. We'll start by removing the windshield. Just have 4 Phillips head screws. I will leave that outer just a little bit on. And now just loosen this one up, and we can slide the windshield off. I'll just take these screws all the way out since we're taking everything off, and then we'll disconnect the vent. All right, next up we're going to remove the air duct. It's a pretty complex system here. You pretty much just grab it, pull back, and remove it like that. There's no fasteners. The windshield bolts actually hold it in place. Now I'm just going to loosely put a couple of the windshield screws back in place. This is pretty much to hold the fairing up so it doesn't fall when I take everything else apart. Now we're going to move to the inner fairing. We're going to pop the speaker grills off. This is a little bit more of that super high-tech fastener system. You just pretty much grab it, pull it right off. Now we're going to disconnect the plugs for the turn signal lights. Now we're going to move to the inner fairing again, and we're going to remove the bolts that are right on the outside. You're going to see them, they're right inside where the speaker grill was. Yeah. Now it's time to remove the lamp screws. These are the Torx T27s that hold on the turn signal / running light. There's one on either side. Now with the T25, we're going to remove these 2 bolts at the lower fairing on either side of the bike. Do the same thing on the other side, and then we'll be ready to remove the outer fairing. Now we're going to remove the 2 windshield screws that we had put in there just to support this while we undid everything else. Got a towel sitting here on the fender just in case. Now it's going to slide right out. Now we'll remove the 4 screws that hold in each speaker so that we can change those out. If we were doing this on a street glide, you'd have to take the speaker pod apart. Fortunately, we're doing it on a road glide, so we don't have to. If you are doing this on a street glide, you're going to want to probably have a service manual so that you do everything properly. Look at that puny little magnet. With the wires disconnected, we can put in the new speaker. Look at that. That's not even cool. After seeing that tiny little magnet, I had to show you the 2 side by side so you can see the comparison. And the Hogtunes just looks better. And then you spin it around, there's your difference. Get a better frame, better magnet. It's going to give you better throw, better sound. If you'll notice, there are 2 different size plugs. You can't really mess this up and hook up the wrong way because they only will connect to the right one. With the wires connected, we can put the speaker in place. All right. There we go. And that didn't even break. Tighten these up, just snug them up. You are just going into plastic, so you don't want to go buck wild on that. Now we'll do the same thing on the other side. The street glide and road glide kits are a lot alike. Big difference is the amp mount. With the amp on the road glide, we're going to be using this black mount. If you were using a street glide, you would use the silver mount. The silver mount actually screws to the bottom of the amp, but with the road glide, it uses Velcro. We're doing a road glide, so I'll toss this silver mount to the side and go ahead, flip my amp upside down, pull the adhesive backing off. And then you're going to want to align this with the holes on the bracket. All right, good deal. So now we can hook up all the wiring and then go over to the bike. We will start by taking the power harness, plugging this in, and then here is our audio input. We'll put that in. On the other side is our audio amplified output. This is what's going to go to our speakers. Bam, just like that. So now we can take this over to the bike, set it in place, and wire this thing up. You don't have to get these tight, you just want to have it there to hold it so that nothing falls while you're doing the install. Because the last thing you want is for this amp to come slamming down on your fender. Now we can start hooking up our wires. We go ahead and pull this through, and then after everything else is wired up, we'll pull the dash off the bike and run this wire through there. You want to run that through on your brake side though. Make sure you run it through on the brake side of the bike. We'll start by locating our speaker plugs on either side. Both of them have a pink with black wire. If you pull the sheathing back a little bit, you'll see that. So we're going to plug this into here. That is coming from our audio signal and going back into the amplifier. Now we will take our other wire and we will hook that into here because that will be our amplified power. Next up we have our, what I call trigger wire. This is what tells the amp to turn on. So find this 2-pin up here. This 2-pin has a purple with blue stripe and a black stripe. It has a dead plug in the end of it, so you just have to remove that plug and then plug straight in, and that's going to trigger your amp to know when to turn on when you turn on the stereo. Now, I'm going to leave all these wires a little loose until I get my headlight assembly in, and then I'll go back and zip tie everything up. Start, I have to remove my 2 bolts that are temporarily holding this. Now your amp's going to fall down a little bit, but with all the wires, it's not going to be able to fall all the way down. You can plug your headlight back in, and then you get the fun of lining all this stuff up and hoping it works. But if I can get a bottom one in. All right, now that our headlight's back in place, we can get everything zip tied, make sure nothing's bound up, and we're good to go. You know, I don't like how tight this one is, so I'm going to reroute it. Just come straight through here. Free that up a little bit, so now it's got plenty of room. I don't like having things super tight like that. We're looking good under here. So now we can undo the dash and run our power wire. To take our dash off, we're going to first take off our gas cap. Then up front, there's one Torx T25. You have to, on this one, turn your ignition to the counterclockwise position to get to it. 1 3/8 bolt at the bottom. I'm just going to set this right here on the back fender, then I can pull my power cable. Now at this point we can hook up our power to the battery and check everything out. Now the battery's hooked up, we can turn this thing on, see what we have. I'm not hooking up an MP3 player or my phone or anything like that. I'm just gonna play what's on the radio, so don't make fun of the music if you don't like it, because it's not mine. Here we go.
If you're looking into her eyes, she's holding on to you so tight, the way I did before. We don't talk anymore. We don't talk anymore.
I might have a new jam. All right, so we've confirmed everything works. I'm gonna put the fairing on, and then I'll show you how to set everything up so that you can get ready to go for a ride and listen to your music. Plugged in. Let me push that down so it's not in the way. All right. Now I can bolt everything together. With the windshield all snugged up, I can come to the inner fairing and start putting in all of the hardware over here. I'll start with the ones right by the speakers. Now I can jump down to these two, knock those out, and then I'll move over to the other side and get this thing wrapped up. With that done, now I can put the bolt in the turn signal, throw the speaker grill on, then move over to the other side. Just line up the tab and slide in place and pop in the clips. Now I've got the caddy in place. Put the last two bolts in. I'm gonna put a couple of zip ties on here just to tidy this up. Now we can put the seat on. So now I'm gonna show you what you need to do. Hit accept, menu, audio, and then speed volume. You're going to go to the third bar. That's what Hogtunes recommends. So go to the third bar and you're good to go. And then you can set up your bass and treble as you desire. This kit's pretty much the same for Street Glide or Road Glide, only difference being the mounting bracket for the amp and the speaker grills. Other than that, same deal. You've seen it, you've heard it, and now you know how to install it. It's the Hogtunes Rev 200 kit. Go out and get yourself one today. I'm Paulie with J&P Cycles. Ride them, don't hide them, and ride it like you can fix it.